And start video. And I am live. Hi, everybody. For those of you in the room, I'm about to answer the question that you asked. For everybody that's online, thank you for joining us. I was kind of kidding around here a moment ago saying, where is everybody from? Because as we all know in this virtual world, we frequently will be saying, where are we from? And so the room said, well, where are you from? So I went around all these different places. I've lived around the United States. And then why am I here in north of Pittsburgh? So this is my current map. And I live in Charleston, South Carolina. Full screen? Yeah. We good? Oh, wait, there's more. Okay. Why am I here in Pittsburgh? So I frequently live in my van, frequently by the river. And for those of you who understand that Saturday Night Live joke, I have a Class B RV, and this is my 7th coast to coast to coast drive. Wow. And I absolutely love it. I live in Charleston, South Carolina, as I just shared. And we moved to Charleston actually because my daughter, who will come up frequently, she always seems to, is my pride and joy, or our pride and joy. And she's a major in the Air Force. She was based in Charleston. And so we moved over there to be closer to her. So I'm sure many of you may have thought and done things like that. So let me go over to a quick PowerPoint here. And it's funny. So I was updating this slide deck. And this was actually a presentation from a couple of years ago. So another time having driven yet even further. And Meg, my daughter, actually lives up in Charleston, or excuse me, lives up in Seattle. So give your picks and docs the Vivid-Pix fix. So Vivid-Pix, we've been around for 11 years. And we started off improving underwater photos. So I'm very fortunate that my business partner, Randy, is literally one of the best image scientists in the world. When we both worked at Kodak, I'm a business guy. And he literally is one of the best image scientists in the world, with Kodak holding over 150 patents in digital image science. We Vivid-Pix hold 2 full image improvement software patents. We're now up pushing 130 countries that our software has sold. And this is Juan the turtle. And Juan is a 3-legged turtle from Puerto Rico that my daughter took a picture of. So about 7 years ago, somebody asked, have you ever thought about old faded photos? And it was a neat opportunity because Randy and I always thought we'd get around to it. And it was actually at a time that the distributor for Kodak scanners was looking to have a different software attached to the Kodak scanners to improve images. And why it's most intriguing to me is back in the early 2000s, I was actually responsible for launching in the United States that software that Kodak had put into our print business. So we invented Restore. There are 3 of us that are core partners in the company. And we have different skills. So I'm a business guy. I've created some decent businesses. Ken, his full-time gig is with Microsoft. And Randy is literally just, he's mostly retired now. He likes taking pictures up in the Adirondacks. And he is our digital imaging scientist, and he continues to tinker a little bit as well. Quickly, again, we've been around since 12, so 11 years, and we've come up with a couple of patents along the way. So coming off this presentation for a minute. So we've all been through a lot of change over the last 3 years. And I call it a gift of COVID. There were many horrible things, of course, of COVID. But a gift of COVID is all of a sudden, from a photographic perspective, many of us decided to get around to doing something we've always wanted to do, which is to pull these images out of the closets in order to capture the stories, in order to make sure that all of this knowledge is passed on to future generations. I also, so most of my life is spent in the genealogy world. And I frequently will describe that there's a genealogy is one thing. Family history is something else. And they fit together. They're close cousins, right? And the customer, I think, always describes things the best. So I'm going to play this 5-minute video. It's going to give you a broad overview of who Vivid-Pix is. And then I'm going to really dig in to why I think most of you are here, which is to understand this wonderful new scanner that's here at the library, to understand our software that's now available within the library, and hopefully intrigue you a little bit more to do more with your family history.
I'm Ken Larson. I'm from Sequim, Washington. Genealogy is finding names, dates, and places. You've got family history, which is learning about the people.
My name's Elizabeth O'Neill, and I'm from California. My family history message to future generations is that everybody needs to be remembered. It's worth telling the stories of not just the people who have passed, but to get your own story down, and because the descendants of the future are looking to us to make sure that this happens. And if we're responsible genealogists, we're not just looking at the people who have passed, but we're working to save our own stories too.
Vivid-Pix is all about making it simple to relive your memories. This includes scanning or downloading photos and documents to create your family history, fast, easy, and affordable software to improve these images, and various education to help people do more.
I want my grandkids, I've got 3 grandkids right now, to understand their heritage. Where did they come from? Where did the Larsons come from? Where did the Tools come from? Where did the Pix come from? My son-in-law he and his family escaped from Czechoslovakia under the Soviet Union. And the stories that they had to go through. That's important family history. It tells a little bit about who they are and how they got here to this country.
I have tried Vivid-Pix Restore, and I was really blown away by the results. I loved being able to just push one little button and poof, there I've got a beautiful picture. And especially on those documents that are really hard to read, it was very helpful with those.
I was a Photoshop guy, taught it for years. Much prefer this. It's a whole lot easier than this super learning curve of the Photoshop and other products. Make them a whole lot better for their albums and their family search and their ancestry uploads. It's very simple. I open it up and shows me multiple images of how it will look depending on which one I select it, click the button, and it just happens. I would recommend it for the very simple reason you don't have to be a techie.
The whole education arm of Vivid-Pix is so important, telling people about story. I've been a strong advocate my entire career about the power of story. That's why people engage in genealogy. That's why people join societies, attend webinars, show up at conferences. They're excited, they're engaged about finding their family's stories. The power of story. It changes lives. We know that. That's why we do this. And Vivid-Pix has been a wonderful partner to help people find their stories and appreciate the power of story. Then in addition to really strong, really solid education, we're so pleased to be partnering with Vivid-Pix on the memory care aspect. And if you think about it, there's kind of 2 ways of interpreting memory care. One, we know our photographs contain many of our family's memories. Vivid-Pix is helping us care for those memories. Second, we know how important it is to take care of our family members, our friends, our loved ones who are on the dementia spectrum. And Vivid-Pix, through their work with the National Institute for Dementia Studies, has found and has identified and articulated best what we kind of thought or believed all along, that taking pictures, marrying really good metadata to those pictures, or taking pictures to our loved ones and recalling stories and events related to the picture we're showing helps people.
Vivid-Pix and the National Genealogical Society developed a turnkey program to help organizations bring the public in the door. Through this partnership, organizations can access equipment, classes, and interactive programs that connect people with their family history and organizations with new audiences.
We installed the memory station in June of 2022, and I'd like to tell you some of the things we've gotten done, because it's been great. We've scanned over 2,000 CGS photos and almost 3 gigabytes of CGS historical documents. It's also been very popular with our members, having scanned countless photos and historical documents themselves for their own family history work.
So what was the gift of COVID? So the gift of COVID was that so what was the gift of COVID, now that you can see me, is that we've had Skype for decades, but we were not interacting in a hybrid way. We were still using the phone. I had Skype. I did international business. It's the only time I used it. But we were able to connect in different ways. So to all of you that are online, it's wonderful to have you online with us. And then for us here in the room, it's wonderful to be together as well. So I'm going to continue with the presentation here and then get into a little bit more of the details. So a picture says 1,000 words, and sometimes words are really important. And as a photo guy, it took people within the genealogy world to tell me about that. So what does that mean? So Allen County Public Library, for the genealogists and you in the room, are extremely close friends of ours. And they're actually the ones in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and they actually were the ones that identified that our software worked really well on documents. So we then developed an algorithm specifically for documents. Similarly, is that I was doing a presentation over there for Family History Month, which is in October. And a question from the audience was metadata. What is it? How would I use it? Why would I use it? And metadata has a technical term to it or feel to it, but it's an electronic way of writing on the back of our photographs. And it's just that simple. And if you think about the transcription part of our documents as well, that information, those words are extremely important. And to have that information transported with your images in a database, in the cloud, wonderful stuff. To also know that you've captured all that information and it's retained within your image file, that's really important too. And that's what we do. So we have two softwares, fast, easy, and affordable image improvement software to improve color print and slide. In January, if you had a negative that you inverted to a positive, we also improved that. In January, we added to restore the inversion step because people were confused. How do I invert a negative? So that's now in restore. Black and white. Sepia, and this isn't trying to make a photo look different, i.e. sepia. This is trying to bring back a sepia photo to look sepia. And sepia is and art. And what I mean by that is the longer that you left the paper in the processing bath was the more red that it became. So one of the fun things with Restore is we have fine tuning of our colors. Some people might like a little more yellow. Some people might like a little bit more red. You have those controls. These are, by the way, my grandparents on my mother's side. In documents. And as I'll show you here in a couple of minutes, how do you want an old photo and document to look? So do you want it to go all the way to white, pure black and white, which is what this technically was, but you've lost the age that is part of the reminiscing of what it is. So we provide that flexibility as well, or bring it all the way to black and white. We can do that. Digital camera and cell phone images. So we take, it's forecasted in 2023 that we will take 1.6 trillion photographs globally this year. Okay, staggering number. These are important memories. And this is an example of my daughter's graduation from the Air Force Academy. And the photo, the joy that was going through the three of our faces at that moment, pretty wonderful, but not a great photo. It's a little bit overcast. It was a little bit out of focus because it came off a cell phone. Wouldn't it be nice to just tighten it up a little bit? So we fix your digital photos as well. So it's literally as easy as selecting one or more images. So in a Windows world, you Mac people, I think, hold your shift key instead of your control key to select multiple images. So in a Windows world, control, select multiple images, and it creates a queue. We then ring that image. So the algorithm, I'll show you a little bit more in a moment. The algorithm feels that the center image is best. We put more contrast, less light in the bottom left. We put less contrast, more light in the top right. And you choose the image that looks best to you. And then that's a one-click fix. And then you can fine tune. This is me when I was 5. Scuba is where we started from our roots. As I mentioned, this is Juan the turtle. This was taken in 30, 35 feet of water, and this was a one-click fix. And underwater photos are really, really hard. Old photos aren't easy, but underwater photos are really, really hard. Because as you submerge, the warm colors are taken out of the image. And so it gets to the point where there's nothing more than green. And so what we do in our imaging software is we actually push the color back into the image to bring it back to color balance, RGB color balance. And then we white balance. And that's what creates a wonderful image. At this point, if you're thinking about some of the other softwares on the market, you'd say, do you guys colorize? And the answer is no, we don't. So we absolutely use artificial intelligence with algorithms in order to be analyzing an image to understand what's gone wrong, where the fade has gone. We do not use machine learning, nothing wrong with it, but we don't use machine learning to guess accurately or inaccurately what the color is, because there's no color in a black and white image. So we look at the image and we bring it back to what it was. Underwater, too far away. Again, you got depth, you have distance that causes things to go out of color. Underexposed, so this is topside. So if you don't have enough light coming into that sensor, it comes out underexposed. And that's a one-click fix. Not everything is one-click fixed. We have fine-tuning for some of them. And then overexposed. And that's a double innuendo. The one on the right. So I'll let you know, So the lady on the right is my daughter, and she currently is a major in the Air Force in the Reserve, full-time with Microsoft. And the gal on the left was her roommate in college, and she's a C-17 pilot, also a major in the Air Force full-time. So these are two pretty cool ladies. Same thing, pick, select, save, or fine tune. So let's fix a few of our own. Talk amongst yourselves as I pull this out. Any questions as I'm doing this?
One question about this. Is it like you could scan?
Yep.
And it looked like you had all this stuff.
So the question for those of you that are online, it looked as if I was scanning a newspaper from what I was showing. The scanner that we have upstairs, its platen for scanning is an 11 by 17. And it actually can be lifted up slightly. We've done some testing up in Canada with Fujitsu, as well as at the Ontario Ancestors, the Ontario Genealogical Society. And you'll see this large black platen area, which holds records really well. So it's pretty cool. I'm sorry, sir? An app? We don't. And the question was, do I have an app for this? There are so many things that can go wrong when you use a cell phone to take a picture of a picture. You've got keystoning, you have shadows, you have odd light. So we've chosen to head down the path of scanning as opposed to not an app. But very good question.
You know, from genealogy, how about from archive newspaper, you know, like online then?
Yep.
Not the actual document, so you would be able to improve that.
So the question was, oftentimes we'll pull down images that are available online, and can we restore those? And the answer is yes. Restore actually is, it will improve most any image file. So if you have a TIFF file, JPEG file, check mark, right? Then 2 is if you're using a higher end camera that shoots in RAW, we fix all of those. BMP, PNG, DNG, we fix all of those. And so we actually will fix most any image file. With that being said, a normal question is, what about PDFs? PDF is not an image file, so we do not improve PDFs. It's kind of like, do you improve Word? They're documents. Great question. Thank you. Yes.
And I think it's going to be no, but if you have framed old photos, I assume you have to take out the picture out of the. You can't like bring your framed old photo and turn over. I'm just thinking of the ones that we have that we want to do. We probably have to take the frame, I assume.
So the question was, if the image is sitting within a frame, do you need to take the image out of the frame so that in order to capture the image? With the machine that we have upstairs, and I ought to show here a quick video on what the scanner does. It'll answer a few of the questions as opposed to fixing things for a moment. And with that, it all depends on glare. So we actually scan the image from the top, similar as a flatbed that does it as it's closed. We do it from the top, and we can actually scan up to 10 images at one time. So as long as and it also adjusts for ambient light. So as long as you're not catching glare, you don't need to take it out, but you'd want to test it too. Oftentimes with the photo albums, the magnetic plastic that has held those pictures in place for all these years is stuck. And at times you can not want to damage your image and shouldn't. And there are actually two fades that are going on there. One is the image is faded, but two, so has the plastic. Restore fixes both of that. And to put an exclamation on that from a document perspective, we did a series of classes just after COVID started back in the summer of 2020. And an image came from like the 1620s. And this thing just was covered in mold. It was black. And we could actually look through the mold to see the lines, to see the handwriting. Crazy, just crazy, crazy stuff. Sometimes the software amazes us at what it's able to do. Yeah. So the question was, what about resizing? So the question was, what about resizing? So two things having to do with resizing. One is that the machine that we've got upstairs will scan at 600 DPI, JPEG or PDF. Okay. So we do not scan in TIFF. Know that. I've got a partial answer for y'all. And then two, at a 600 DPI JPEG image, it's large-ish. What you do with that image could enlarge it. So what does that mean? Is oftentimes a photograph is printed at 300 DPI. So technically, by bringing it to 600 DPI and then printing it in an enlarged size, say a 4:6 to a 5:7 is a 1.5x, you're all good.
Does it lose clarity?
Question was, does it lose clarity when you do that? No. No. No, it's actually so no difference as far as fade goes, or resolution, for lack of a better word. 300 DPI is an extremely high dots per inch, and also PPI, pixel per inch. So DPI comes from the print world, pixel per inch comes from the digital world. So if you're starting out with a 600 DPI, it's already larger. Then two, from a sharpening perspective, is water's blurry. So when we brought our ability to be able to sharpen images from underwater into our restore, our ability to sharpen is really pretty unique. We give you a control in order to sharpen as you wish. The algorithm will automatically sharpen, or you can turn it off. Then B, you're able to fine tune that sharpening. We tend not to over sharpen. We tend to make things crisp.
More.
Sure.
So you had a beautiful restoration of the whole photo there.
Yep.
When you go to print that.
Yep.
So are you obviously that's different than the software. Is that dependent on how good a printer you have and the quality? Okay.
So wonderful question there. So the question was, so I've now restored and got a wonderful new photograph digitally, but I want to print. Now what? So I don't know if I covered. I don't think I did. So my last job with Kodak was in 2003. I left, or they left me. My job was vice president, national sales manager for any printed or digitized consumer image in North America. So I was responsible for $1.5 billion a year. And so when I decided to get back into the print, and then I worked for HP and I helped spin up a division, I have held off getting into the print world until I had something new and different. So we probably won't cover it tonight. Yes, we have Vivid-Pix prints now, and it is a professional lab at consumer prices. The print world is like any other business. You have better quality and you have lower quality.
Suppose you have a picture. It was like offside, a little bit of the border.
Sure, sure.
Can you move that picture?
So yep. So the question was, what about images that have been either when you scan them that they're a little bit off center or not well cropped, or B, the actual photograph could also be not quite on center. So two-part answer. First part answer is we are, and also a third part, which you kind of touched on, which is sometimes you take a picture and you weren't noticing quite the landscape, and those pictures come out not level. So it's nice to be able to adjust the landscape. We can do that, and we have one degree increments as well as full 90-degree increments. Two, we've got cropping functionality that allows you to be able to freeform crop. So simply click, drag, release, and crop exactly what you want. And then in addition to that, I should pull this one up to show you. So. Great questions, by the way. Absolutely. Absolutely. So the question was, or the statement was, so you can edit, and the answer is yes. Up here? Okay. Okay. The expertise in the photographic industry is not what it used to be. Not saying that that person was not answering the question that she understood or he understood it to be, but photo printing isn't quite what it used to be. And as an example, I used to manage the relationship between Kodak and CVS pharmacies. And CVS, the highest paid area within a CVS store at this time, which is in 2002, 2003, it was the highest paid area within the store. People aspired to be part of the photo department. Okay. I'm going to, yes. Sure. Yep. So the question was, if we're scanning here at the library, what do I do with the image? So here at the library, you can either save it directly down to the desktop. You then are able to grab it onto a USB drive or an SD drive and walk away with it. Two, you're able to email it to yourself. Three is the tech folks here at the library are wonderful, and they're actually refreshing after each round of users so that we erase, or they erase, all of those images after you've left.
So then we have this software at home on our own computer. Is that it?
You
Edit them and resize them and do everything, or do we do that here?
So the question was, for the image editing, do you have that at home, or do you have it here? The answer is yes, you have it here. I would love for you to have it at home as well. And that's called vivid-pix.com. And we're really inexpensive for $50. It's amazing price software. You can put it on 2 computers. It works on Mac and Windows. Our commercial license is a different price. But yeah. It is. Yeah. So the statement was the scanner is the most important, expensive piece, and absolutely here within the library it is. And it's interesting. I was just creating some new ads with my marketing guy this afternoon. We've been in business for 11 years, and people have been knowing us as image improvement software for so many years, but now we're doing all these different things. And for people that didn't know us from the past, it's like, well, do I need to buy your scanner in order to be able to use your software? And the answer is no. Our software is literally many tens of thousands of people are using it today. Roughly 1,000 libraries in America are using it today. So yeah, different software. Yes.
And make a photo,
So the question was, you're not able, or the question was, am I able to print a picture here in the library? And the answer is no. So what you are able to do here in the library is to bring in your images, to scan those images, to improve those images, to walk away with those images in a digital form, to do something more with them. Yep. I think we've got a question in the chat too, so let's not ignore you. Yep. Q, is the metadata property, maybe not correcting wording, but like Adobe Bridge?
When Michelle Gold, please come to the customer service desk located on the lower level. Michelle Gold, thank you.
So metadata. So this young lady is asking a question having to do with metadata. I'm not going to comment on what Adobe or Apple is doing. What I will do is comment on what we do. So metadata is, there are two major organizations for metadata. One is XF and one is IPTC, and those are the standard bodies for metadata. So what we do with metadata is we capture the information, put it directly into the image file so that any software that can read metadata can read the metadata from within our files because we meet standards. Don't want to comment on what anybody else does. Many different companies will create sidecars. And sidecars basically is, it doesn't necessarily go directly into the image file, but those sidecars of information may be on the side of those images. And as long as I'm working within that program, I can read the metadata. But other programs can't read their metadata. Subtext of that is there are a number of us that are part of something called SaveMetadata.org. And SaveMetadata.org was founded 6 years ago now. Includes us, includes Family Search, includes other companies that have looked at all the standards and have come up with a recommendation based on what everybody was doing and standard bodies in order to come up with a recommended way for family history metadata photos. Okay.
Does the scanner have a provision for dealing with documents?
So the question was for documents, how does it deal with images that may not be flat? Is that about it? Okay. So thank you, Sabrina. Glad you like it. So the scanner does some really unique. Let me play the scanner video. Let me play that. It's crazy cool. And the reason for this is, and I'll make one backdrop here before I start out. Let me pull it up or I'm going to distract myself. Okay, so the question was, does for images, let's say your specific one, a newspaper, what happens if it's curved? So what the technology actually does within the Fujitsu scanner. So Fujitsu is the largest scanning company in the world. They hold over 90% of share within the health industry. And the way that they scan is they actually are able to see the lines of text within the document in order to automatically flatten the image. And that's how their tech works. Crazy cool. In photographs, we don't have those lines of text, so it will not flatten the same way. I wish it did. And then from a glass perspective, glass reflects. So it's worth trying. Glass that is glare-free tends to have like a matte to it, which can affect your scan. Okay, so I'm going to play this short video.
A new perspective on scanning. ScanSnap SV600. Simply push the scan button on the ScanSnap SV600 to start scanning. You can scan documents which are impossible to scan using an ADF scanner. Large documents, thick books, and your precious memories. You don't need to cut out pages anymore, and you can scan multiple documents in one go. These are all made possible with the new VI technology. 3 revolutionary technological advancements are hidden in the head of the scanner. The deep depth of field lens allows autofocus on a wide area, and even the focusing distance has changed. The high directivity LED lamp allows you to maintain the same brightness without being affected by the surrounding light. The CCD linear image sensor allows scanning by line to produce steady images. The usual camera-style overhead scanner tends to be out of focus towards the edge of the document, but the SV600 can produce a steady and clear image of the whole document. Equipped with VI technology, which combines the 3 technologies, the SV600 is able to minimize unevenness in image quality and generate a smooth image. Digitized data can be used anywhere, anytime, to fit your lifestyle. The SV600 is also equipped with other convenient functions. The page turning detection will detect page turning movement and scan automatically. The book image correction will automatically correct distortion. The multiple document detection can automatically crop several documents at the same time. You can use CardMinder to organize business cards. With the bundled software, the SV600 can be used in various situations, just like other models in the ScanSnap series. It is so compact that you can scan anywhere without worrying where to place it. Simple, speedy, compact. Experience productivity beyond imagination. ScanSnap SV600.
So it's really cool tech. Thank you. And what's cool about it is there's no longer a Kodak that can look across all the industry needs in order to put all these pieces together. And that's what we're striving to do, to choose the best at what's doing once, choosing who's doing what best, to put them together so that you know they've been properly thought through and connected so that you don't have to. That's what we're trying to do. So this video, and in the interest of time and for people online, I want to make sure I make it through a couple. So this is an overview of the scanner with Restore.
Hi, we're here at the Thrive Center in Louisville, Kentucky. And the Thrive Center is a wonderful location that brings together various technologies to help the aging population. And whether that be someone who wants to stay in their own home longer, what are the technologies that can help them do that? And it's also for facilities that are looking for different technologies in order to be able to help the aging population. Here what we've set up is the memory station, and the memory station is designed to make it fast and easy for people to literally press one button to scan their old photos and documents to to bring those photos into Restore software to bring those photos back to life, improving color, contrast, lightness, and sharpness all at once, making them look new again. And then 3, we've also got the solution where you're able to archive those memories, whether it be the photographic, whether it be a verbal, or whether it be that you want to archive for long-term security in a cloud archive. The memory station is broken up into 3 parts. So the first part is with the Fujitsu ScanSnap SV600 scanner, that literally with one button, you can scan 1 or more memories. Now, if in fact I had multiple photos, because we all have many photos, I can lay down those many photos and the software will automatically separate those into individual images so that you're able to save those and of course restore those with Vivid-Pix Restore software. Now within the Restore software, I'm able to select that image. We give you a 9-up view, and I like the center image, and I can see marked improvement. But I'd like to fine-tune this a little bit by just brightening it up a little bit and perhaps reducing the vividness a little bit, the color. And now I've got a wonderfully improved image. And I click Save. So just that quickly, you're able to scan, you're able to restore, and relive your memories. So come to the Thrive Center. Learn how to thrive as you age, restore, and relive your memories. Go to any of our other locations in order to relive your memories. And of course, this is available for your home as well.
So let me explain very quickly what the Thrive Center is, because we're super proud to be working with them. We've been working with them now for over 4 years, and they are one of the technology testing grounds for NIH, the National Institutes of Health. So you'll hear me talk about our health initiatives every once in a while. It's very, very important. There are over 100 million Americans over the age of 55. There are 8.2 million Americans that have dementia. There are 25% of our US population are unpaid caregivers, and obviously not just for those with dementia, cognitive decline. So this whole aspect is really important to us. And so much so, so that May is actually National Photo Month. It's also National Mental Health Awareness Month. So with that in mind, we did primary research. The National Institutes of Health identified that photos are one of the prompts for reminiscence therapy. And there was very little research on photoreminiscence therapy. So we did primary research. It's available. So I'm clicking here on our website on solutions. And right here, you can actually click on the research that we did that ended up being published by the National Institute of Dementia Education, and then education that we offer as well on helping both paid and unpaid caregivers work with those with cognitive decline. I'm going to play a short video here because it's probably going to be the fastest way to explain what Restore does. I love the questions. So many of you know us as a software to be able to automatically improve faded photos and documents. And I've Kodak roots, and George Eastman had a pretty good line that worked pretty well for the company for a lot of years, which was, you press the button, we do the rest. And that's how we designed our Restore software and also our underwater software, so that the algorithm is analyzing an image. We adjust color, contrast, sharpness, brightness, all at once across color, black and white, sepia, and all kinds of different records, and do so in such a way that it's as easy as selecting the images, pick the one that looks best to you and save it. And then we have easy to use fine tuning as well. And we're quite proud that some notable people are using our software and recommend our software.
In the genealogy world, and also if you think about all the memorabilia you have, whether it be letters, whether it be passenger records of our ancestors that emigrated from a foreign land, immigrating to the United States or Canada or any country. And these records are really, really important. And if you think about how wonderful it is with a photograph, when you flip it over and you see some notes, or a photo album and people have written in information about that image, that now it's just information, not just a dead picture of people that may be dead, that you don't know any of the stories. So our transcription and our metadata functionality allows you to be able to type in all of the information that you're now able to read, made legible through Restore software, and to save that information directly into the digital image file. And now all of that information is transported with that image file. And there are many reasons why that's important. Many of the sites that are available online that you would be typing in information about, any information, a photo, a document, it's actually stored in a database. And as long as you continue to subscribe to that online source, you have access to that information. But if you don't have it saved directly within the image file, and if you cancel any of those memberships, you no longer have the information that you've spent countless hours actually researching and making note of. And that's a really big benefit of our metadata feature within Vivid-Pix Restore. We are international standards, XF and IPTC metadata compliant. And once again, we're quite proud that highly respected individuals are using and like our product.
I'm going to play one more video and probably open it back up for questions before we in the room go out for a field trip. So underneath our software, simply click on Restore. And okay, that one's too long. So within education, we got a ton of education. So right here, Vivid-Pix software tutorials. This is getting started.
Vivid-Pix makes it easy to improve most any image type, color, black and white, sepia, document, and also most any type of image format, JPEG, TIFF, PNG, RAW. Simply select one or more images, an old black and white, a color, an old document, and let's grab one more document. The software analyzes the image, and we adjust color, contrast, lightness, and sharpness all at once. We present you with a 9-up screen where the software feels that the middle image is best. However, as everyone sees lightness and contrast differently, and these are extremely difficult images to fix, we ring that center image with varying amounts of contrast and light, with more contrast in the bottom left, less light, and less contrast in the top right, and more light. I prefer the middle. You're now presented with the before and after image. You can just view the original, the improved, or both. I'm happy with this fix, so I hit Save Next. With this image, it's a relatively current digital image, so I'm able to improve with the digital cell phone or camera algorithm, and I prefer the bottom right. So with one click, we've been able to take this underexposed image and make it quite nice. This next image is a document. I changed the algorithm to be document. I prefer the middle image. And I've been able to make this quite more legible. I am able to crop in on the image by left click and holding and dragging to a particular area. And if I wish, I'm able to fine tune, perhaps with a little bit less lightness, to make the text more legible. If I'm happy, I hit Save Next. This last image is a document, but it is extremely faded. So I've played with this image before, and by trying the different fixed types, faded, badly faded, digital, or document, I know that a unique tips and trick is possible with some of these images. So I'm going to choose Faded Printer Slide, and I'm going to select the middle image. In the Easy Edit mode in Windows and in Mac, this is on the primary screen, I'm going to turn it into a black and white, go back into the Detail Edit, and I'm going to increase the lightness. So what a wonderful way to take an image that has essentially no legibility and make it quite easy to read. Give your pics and docs the Vivid-Pix fix.
We're going to all those.
So, so here on this page, so the comment from the audience was, boy, I've got a lot of those. And by the way, you're not alone, obviously. But the 60s, 70s, beginning of the 80s specifically, Kodak had an emulsion problem. And that is why so many of our images look as red as they do. And to exacerbate that in our current world, and our black and white photos have tended to, let me close. So you've got lots of different tutorial videos that speak about improving documents, detail edit functions, getting started. There are lots of different videos here. So I'll just finish up there. So in the early 2000s, there was less and less silver halide photographic printing, and silver halide had greater stability. Ink also has very good stability. Unfortunately, the dye sublimation prints, which were what was coming out of a lot of the picture makers and ended up being behind the counter in a lot of the drugstore chains, was a dye sublimation print. And those dye, which is basically a layering of cyan, magenta, yellow coating, and then that became the print. Unfortunately, those images do not have the same print life as even silver halide, which was yet less than black and white. So our black and whites have amazing stability because there was so much, there's not the dye. And that dye had an impact both for the film as well as for the paper. So if you've got a fair number of those old dye sublimation prints, those you want to digitize pretty soon because they're going to fade. Let's see, we are at the hour. Online, I'm going to go to first. Do y'all have any more questions? Thank you for the question. So the question was, how much does the scanner sell for? So on our website, so yes, somebody looked ahead. I hear the answer from the audience. So the MAP price, the minimum advertised price on the scanner alone is $599. Restore sells for $50. We give a $20 discount, so $629. All of the education bundled with that, we sell for $799.95. And the education is how do you pull all these images out of your closet? How do you gather the stories from your loved ones as well as yourself? If you're interested in the photo reminiscence therapy, full classes on that, as well as how to take better pictures. Yes.
One more thing on so the software looks pretty amazing.
Thank you.
What does the scanner really give me? Because I can scan at home and create a file and feed it into your software. Is the scanner going to just make it that much better, or is it ease of use, or I'm not quite sure that's fit.
So great question. So the question was, the software seems like a lot of the magic. I've got a scanner at home currently. The scanner seems neat. What's the benefit? And if you've got a very good scanner at home, you don't need a new scanner. And for instance, so sheet fed scanners are extremely helpful because they're fast. Oftentimes, some of our images, I personally, and I've seen some really bad things happen where it'll scratch your images going through the sheet fed, but it's fast. Two is flatbeds are probably the highest resolution. And you can scan more things. You can do NICs, you can do slides, you can do other things, but this gets to be a drag, lifting and closing the, yep. So that's one of the reasons I really like the SV600. It will scan up to 10 images at a time, as long as they're separated by 0.6 inches. So figure 3/4 of an inch. It automatically separates them into individual images, even if they're tilted, and it will adjust the tilt. You're able to just continue hitting, pull away 10 more up, hit continue, pull away 10 more up. You can rename all of those image files right in the workflow. So you don't have to go back into a secondary software in order to rename the files. So you touched on it. It's ease of use. It's speed. Yep. Yes, ma'am.
What's that might be, important to your family? Everybody wants a copy of it. And you get it digitized and you email it to your house or put it on a drive. You said that you have a company or a sister company that you could actually send it to. They have those printed and sent to you.
So the question was, or the statement was, okay, we've got this priceless photograph that everybody in the family wants. Only because you went like that with the image or with the saving, I want to call out that it looked like a USB.
Yes, it's a USB.
Remember, please, that USBs are spec'd for only having a 1-year life. We all know that we've got USBs that we've depended on for a lot longer than that. I've had an SSD go bad on me. It's still horrible having lost a solid state drive. USBs are technically an SSD, but they're not even as stable as a true SSD. So supportability, love USBs. So when you're thinking about keeping those images, A, the original, if it's priceless, you're never going to throw it away. B, keep at least 2 digital local copies in different locations. So that might be one in your own, one with a loved one in a safety deposit box, whatever it happens to be. And the third is putting it up in the cloud. So that would be the storage. Then lastly, having to do with printing, absolutely. Vivid-Pix prints. So it's right on our website, Vivid-Pix-prints. And we do a
over the website, so you don't send anything physical.
Oh.
You can just put it up with the website.
Yep.
Oh.
So the statement was, so you can just put it up over the internet and print online. The answer is yes. And return it to your home. Yes, ma'am.
Software, you have new software?
So the question was on our software, when we come up with updates, what then, or upgrades?
How long is that software? How long is that software good for? Do you have to pay individually for that update?
So the question is do I have to pay ongoingly when updates come out? So the short answer is that our Scuba software has had one upgrade in 11 years, and we have given away free updates ongoingly. Restore has been in market for 7 years. We have given free updates. Bought it once, $50, and we've given free updates throughout time. At a point in time, that will change. Anyone who is buying in at the previous, at the current, we will continue to provide free updates. Doesn't upgrade is different than update, but we'll, yep. But for instance, we started off improving Restore photos, then added documents, then added metadata, then added blah, 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 blah. All of that has been free update.
Another question. So if you have several people in a picture.
Yep.
And I'm just dumb about this. My husband will be embarrassed. But anyway, so if you have a lot of people in it, can you actually do to describe it? Like the first person on the left is this, or can you tag that face and put the metadata right on the face? Like this is Aunt Susan, and then this is Uncle John, and
so it's not a dumb question at all. So let me repeat it. It's actually an excellent question. So it has to do, if you've got multiple people within an image, how is there a way for me to be able to tag the individual people within those images? Short answer is Adobe came out with this. No, not Adobe. IPTC, I think IPTC came out with standards 2 years ago that was to be able to come down to the pixel level within an image in order to do exactly what you're describing, to be able to notate who that person is through metadata down to that level. We do not. There is a company, if you want to take note of it, called Memory Web. And Chris and Nancy have created a wonderful company. Memory Web is also part of the Save Metadata group. They're doing wonderful things, and they can do that.
Is that something from strategic plan to do?
Not short term, but yeah. Metadata is really important. So the question was, is this something that's on our long-term plan? And the answer is absolutely. The power of metadata is just so cool. And you're able to, and the pixels, you know, we mentioned DPI versus PPI. Okay, PPI, you're able to get down to a pixel level to be able to do lots of different things, retain information, put it into metadata, do image correction, all kinds of different things. Yeah.
I'm thinking it would be cool someday to, like, and we've had ancestry, you know, over the years. We're taking a break. It's pretty expensive, but we're gonna, I'm sure, get back into it. But it would be so interesting if you could save a picture, have it embed names, you know, and then cross-reference within the rest of the ancestry. So then, you know, I'm sure Ancestry's thought of this, but it'd be neat because then you could really see, you know, maybe your sixth cousin has a photo of your common fifth grandparent or whatever. You could access those pictures.
So the statement for everybody here, because this young lady is making wonderful comments, which is common trees. So Family Search, Ancestry, MyHeritage, they work in a common tree. So wouldn't it be wonderful if, as those individual images are capturing at the pixel level by the person level, who is that person? So then within the database, you're actually able to cross-reference across this common tree. And the answer is yes. And we would love if Ancestry and some of those companies would join what we're striving to do. So for all of you that are part of those very large entities, suggest it, because that's what we believe. And the only way it's really going to grow is from ground up. It's a business decision.
Because it's really difficult when you go back and try to go into Europe or whatever, everybody's name Isabel or Margaret. And so, and then, you know, John Davis is my ancestor in Wales. You can't find the guy because there are 50 million John Davises, you know, so, but if you had some embedded photos, you were able to find something that, you know, makes sense or
So Gordon Clark is the person who pulled us all together. Gordon at Family Search. So Gordon's responsible for business development at Family Search. Great guy. And he looked across the industry and said, who's doing what with metadata? He brought a bunch of us together. And we've been working on this for years. And yeah, there's so much powerful stuff that we're able to do. And by the way, I am now, unfortunately or fortunately, am now the board chair of that for the next 2 years. So I'm listening very succinctly. So thank you. Young lady.
Basic question. Can you take a black and white photo that was always black and choose the colors, like to bring forth a new and choose your own colors?
So the question was, in starting with a black and white photo and you choose the colors to colorize, are you able to do that? And there are many companies that are doing wonderful things with colorization. We're choosing not to at this time.
You're a purist.
The statement was you're a purist right now. And yes, I'm confirming that.
Within would that be like, you could, almost like Word, you could select everything that you want.
So yeah, so two things. So the question was, like in the olden days, analog would be able to write on the back of the photo or around the photo, and those were our ways of keeping notes. Within the digital world with metadata, yes, you're able to type in black electronic type on white electronic background in order to be able to retain that information. So no color really plays into that. And then with metadata, you're actually able to either copy paste into or out of that cell. So think about it as being similar to Excel. So you've got, an area of information. So if you've got a separate document that holds all this information from another project, and you wanted to be able to copy paste that into the metadata, you can.
What if you family, photos of a dad and his first grade picture?
Yep.
And it's got the teacher with the 20 kids.
Absolutely.
From 19,
Yep.
right? And there's a circle around his face. Can you get rid of that kind of thing? That's something that you can.
So the statement, I'm nodding because I understand your question. Doesn't mean we do it. So the question is, so you've got this wonderful family, this wonderful class picture that is first grade of your father, his teacher's name, has all the kids. We all know what you're describing. And somebody, for some unknown reason, decided to circle that one person within the photograph. Can that be removed? And the answer is yes, it can be removed. Can it be removed with Restore? The answer is no, it cannot. And there are programs that do that, like Photoshop. Okay. And that isn't a flippant statement. What we've tried to create is very, very powerful, easy to use, fast software. We're not trying to be Photoshop. We're not trying to be somebody else. And a good example, and Photoshop's a wonderful program. There are missing pieces from some of the most important images and documents. That is very powerful software and very high skill sets to be able to know how to use those tools.
You don't,
Go.
actually, because there was a reason somebody did what they did to the photo in a way. So, if you want to just like you buy an old book and somebody's written in the
margin,
that makes it more interesting. You can get their perspective when they were reading the book. So to have that still remain within the picture is I think kind of important. I just was more curious.
So the statement was, and I thank you, here's your $1. No, is she was very pleased that we are trying to stay more purist and we're not doing a lot of image manipulation from what somebody chose to do in the past. Yep. Any other questions online? Okay, yes, young lady.
You have the software. Can you scan, can you go, and you said you can email, can you email to your phone? And not to your computer, and then take your phone and print.
So the question was if so, from here in the library or in general? So once you have it, so the question was, can I? Sure. I've got a digital file, whether I did it at home or whether I did it here in the library. Am I able to email it to myself on my phone? The short answer would be yes. I would also assume that your email address is tied to your phone and to your home computer. So it's kind of going to both places.
But I don't know how to computer, right?
Then you're good to go. So the statement was wonderful. I've got the email on my phone. So here from the library, I do the scanning. I can do the image correction. I can email it to myself. I now have that attachment on my phone. The answer is yes. Yeah.
So is the library imposing any restrictions on content that can be scanned?
So the question was, is the library?
Yeah, so we actually did talk about that recently.
Come up here. Come on, you can't get up.
So that everyone at home hears it as well. We did talk about this recently.
What was the question?
Are we restricting what you can scan? The short answer, I like your format. The short answer, no. The long answer being, if we see you copying a whole book, then yes, we will step in and say something. You know, the same way, it's the same kind of general policy we have for our scanner. If anyone's ever used that, if you're scanning a lot of documents, we will kind of step in, like, and you can't, obviously, we're not going to invade privacy and ask exactly what you're scanning, but we will make sure that what you're scanning is within copyright. So you can't come in and, you know, scan an entire book and take it home with you. Like if you're scanning a few pages, that's fine, but copyright would mean that you can't take like whole chunks of the book or scan the entire book. Again, if you're scanning a picture, you hopefully I don't have to tell adults that it better be appropriate, but same thing for our copier. We have had that happen. So if we see you scanning photos that possibly aren't appropriate to have out in a public space where there are children, we also would step in. But other than that, bring as much as you'd like to scan. Someone did ask before about making appointments. We are not doing appointments at this time. But if it gets to the point where, you know, we've got multiple people waiting or multiple people coming in around the same time, we have talked about doing appointments in the future if that happens. So for now, we're kind of saying, come in about 2 hours, and then we'll just ask if someone's waiting. You know, we'll kind of try and be courteous. And we may ask that person, you know, hey, stop back by, or we may ask you about how long you might be taking and then ask that person to come back. So for now, we're all going to play nice and hope that stays the case.
I think right now you're trying to establish a 2-hour.
Yeah. So again, we want you to be able to bring in as much as you need to digitize, or if you're working on a very big project. But since it is new and there are a lot of people that are interested in starting to learn about it and come in to use it, we're going to say, you know, if it's been about 2 hours, we are going to ask that you come back another day or break up your project into smaller chunks so that you're not using up, you know, the entire day to scan all of your pictures, which we'd love for you to be able to do. But for now, we only have one scanner. So we're going to hope it's not so, I don't know. I guess we should hope it's popular enough that we have so many people, but at the same time, for now, for now, we're going to hope everyone plays nice and that we don't have to be too
rigid about rules or, you know, setting appointments and you know, shooing you out of there.
I'm popular because I keep asking questions, but I have to just ask one more question. If you have a really odd sized old photo, so long and thin, do you have a service that this can be mailed to and somebody can professionally do, like it just won't fit in the scanner? You can send that out.
So-
Typically,
Yep. So the question was, what about odd shapes? And I'll take that one to scan odd shapes and the like, and I'll take that one step further. So let me share. Here's your second $1. Underneath scanning, we have DIY and digitizing service. So DIY is what we've been talking about. Professional digitizing service. I've known Brett for a long time. And this is your legacy, your story. And you don't put your name. My brand is everything. I'm everything to me. My brand is everything to me. I'm not going to put my name on people that I don't trust. So I've known Brett for a long time. So Brett, you better not mess this up. He's out in San Diego, stays in the United States. We are doing amazing. He's doing amazing things. And he's been recommending us for years, and I've been recommending him for years, and we decided to finally formalize our relationship from a business perspective. And one of the reasons, a couple of the reasons for that is, one, I was out at NGS, the National Genealogical Society Conference in Sacramento in the spring of last year. Come to Richmond. It's in Richmond this year, NGS. And we were launching the scanner. And somebody said, I've got a large format negative and I don't know what to do with it. And the problem is that camera stores, the way that we used to know them, they really don't, they're very difficult to find. Atlanta, exactly, as an example, doesn't have a real camera store anymore. So I wanted to make sure that we were able to provide that service. So from the story standpoint, so I called up Brett. I said, Brett, I've got a lady here. She's either got a medium or large format neg. She needs to have it scanned. Are you able to take care of it? Absolutely. So old 8mm and 16mm film that we actually HDR scan those old 16 and 8mm with under overexposure and properly exposed, seam them back together, and then send you back a full 4K resolution movie and each one of those individual frames. If you've got all these fish heads, literally Brett's got banks of, think about all of our videotapes. So we went through 8, high 8, VHS, VHS-C, VHS, others, beta, etc. He's able to do all of those. And then also, similar to our printing, there are organizations that do scanning, but there's a proper preparation for scanning to make sure that you're properly cleaning these things and you're properly handling these things. So we do all those things. So long answer, yes. Yeah. Other questions?
You get a chance to show everyone the scanner upstairs.
Yep.
Our computers do shut down 10 minutes earlier than the library closes, so got about 20-ish minutes to go check that out. But if you do have other questions, you can always bug Rick on the way there. And you can also always send me an email. I'll send a follow-up email, and I can always, connect you with Rick or get that answer for you.
Absolutely. Okay, Sabrina, last question from the audience as well. Thank you for asking. Do I need to be at the Vivid-Pix machine in the library to add captions, metadata to the photos I've scanned? Asking in case There are folks waiting, even if I've been there less than the maximum time. Thank you. So metadata technically can be added anytime. You are able to add metadata, well, from a Windows perspective, metadata is much easier to deal with. Mac doesn't really quite get metadata. And then two is for it to be written by the XF and IPT standards that we have within Restore. Yes, you would need to be within a Restore program, which is available at the library, or if you had Restore at home. In Pittsburgh, yes. So the question was, is there another is there another memory station here within the Pittsburgh market? I'm pretty sure it's the only one. I'm pretty sure. Northland, thanks for joining the group here in the person. We're going to go to the scanner now. See y'all.